For the latest film interviews, reviews and everything making news in pop culture, subscribe to Film Companion now. Haseen Dillruba begins with the credits, story, screenplay and dialogues by Kanika Dhillon, which gives you a hint of things to come. Kanika is one of Hindi cinema's most provocative writers. She immerses us into purposefully off-kilter, usually small-town worlds, which are further disrupted by ferocious women who refuse to live within the Lakshman Rekha prescribed by patriarchy and society. Think of the red-haired Rumi in Marziya, Muku, a girl from an affluent Pandit family who falls in love with the poor Muslim porter in Kedarnath, or the mentally ill Bobby in Judgmental Hai Kya. Rani, the Haseen Dillruba of the title, is a fine addition to this gallery of blazing characters with jagged edges. Rumi and Rani, both played by Taapsee Pannu, are described by other characters in their respective stories as Dians. We've seen enough feminist horror films to understand that this is high praise. Dian means a woman with a fiery spirit. Rani is a narcissistic middle-class Delhi girl with a master's in Hindi literature, a passion for the crime novelist Dinesh Pandit and a deep desire to be swept off her feet by someone dashing, witty and volatile. But after a few failed relationships, Rani settles for an arranged marriage with Rishu, a mild-mannered engineer from the fictitious small town of Jwalapur. His hobby is homeopathy. She used to work at a beauty salon and spends her time giving her father-in-law makeovers. Even when her life is in shambles, her nails are impeccably manicured. Rani describes herself as a khoobsurat hot ladki. Rishu is so awed by her beauty that he becomes dysfunctional in front of her. After a few sweetly comedic romps with Rishu, Rani declares, "Koi jwala nahi jalne wali hamare beech mein." Enter the loutish Lothario Neil, Rishu's cousin, a river rafting guide who dresses to show off his bulging biceps. In one scene, he's pumping air into a boat, shirtless, sweaty and glistening in the sun, the absolute embodiment of lust. This obviously cannot end well. Haseen Dillruba begins with murder. The story is then recapped mostly by Rani, the prime suspect, who's telling the investigating police officer what led to this point. But Rani, like Bobby, is an unreliable narrator, and her telling is colored by her avid reading of crime novels. She keeps quoting her favorite author with lines like, "पंडित जी कहते हैं कि संबंध तो मानसिक होते हैं, शारीरिक तो संभोग होता है." Rani's story is so intriguing that she quickly gathers an audience at the police station, with listeners appreciatively interjecting with "Wah, wah." It's the same for us viewers. Haseen Dillruba is genre-busting. It's a murder mystery but also a feverish romance with dollops of comedy bunged in. Most of it provided by Rishu's mother, played by the superb Yamini Das, who only wants a Sundar Sushil Gori Bahu for her son. The film swerves from raging hormones to the raw, muddled emotions of two strangers in a marriage to things darker and bloodier. This is a tightrope act, and Kanika and director Vinil Matthew are only partially successful at it. What works best is Act 2, when Rishu and Rani are beginning to find the bearings in their fractured relationship. There's a lovely scene in the kitchen in which the act of making tea together becomes a sort of truce. The bumps in the narrative are also considerably smoothened by Vikrant Massey's terrific performance. In one scene, Rishu breaks down, declaring that men like him can never be seen as heroic. Vikrant's tears capture the anguish of being nice and kind in a twisted world. Taapsee is also very good as an impulsive, selfish woman who creates a tragic mess, but Rani gets wiser as we watch. The two actors make this roller coaster relationship, with Rishu's slavish devotion to Rani and her understanding that he might be what she needs persuasive. And Harshvardhan Rane is well cast as the beefy, casually misogynistic third wheel. But in Act 3, Haseen Dillruba switches tracks, moving into territory that becomes implausible and emotionally unconvincing, especially Rishu's arc. The final explanation of what actually happened is this grotesque blend of a Roald Dahl short story and a film that I won't mention because it might be too much of a spoiler. Needless to say, it borders on the ridiculous. As with the latter half of both Kedarnath and Judgmental Hai Kya, Kanika loses control of the narrative, which becomes increasingly convoluted. Anything can happen, but little feels organic or earned. The end twist might work in one of Dinesh Pandit's pulpy novels, but here it comes off as grand guignol, which undermines everything that's gone before. Haseen Dillruba is Vinil's second film after Hasi To Pasi 7 years ago. Hasi To Pasi, a rom-com set amidst a shadi, had a real sweetness to it. Haseen Dillruba has a more jaundiced view of what men and women do to each other. But like in the first film, the balcony plays a key role. Jwalapur is a town on a river. Parts of the film were shot in Uttarakhand. Vinyl and DOP Jai Krishna Gumadi make good use of the shimmering water and the multi-level home. Those balconies overlooking the flowing river are made for romance. In one scene, Rani says, "Pagalpan ki had se na guzra wo pyar hi kaisa." I agree, but the pagalpan in Haseen Dillruba moves from poignant to posturing and eventually loses its grip. You can watch the film on Netflix India. For more reviews like this, subscribe to Film Companion and don't forget to check out our website filmcompanion.in.